I'm not sure where I should begin. I've never thought of my life being compressed into a storybook, but since one of my lovely girls requested it, I'm here now, doing the best of my abilities to write a somewhat cohesive storybook. This won't be meant for the public eye or ears, but there will be certain aspects of the story that won't be suitable for minors, so please keep that in mind. Personally, I will think that the storybook will be all sunshine and rainbows. Much like anyone else's story, it's going to be plenty of ups and downs. But that's what makes an interesting storybook, isn't it? I think that in terms of story writing, my life has been an excellent one of that, following the rules of interesting story writing and all, of having both conflict and times of peace, and a relatively decent pacing. I don't think that I have anything else more to say for the few words that I'd spare before listening, before telling the story itself. So, my little girl, you're about to listen to a story of a girl named Hua. People say that the birth of a human being is a new beginning of all possibilities. But ever since I was born, I had already been marked for death. Since my birth, I had been contracted with a disease known as severe combined immunodeficiency. One is known to have anyone's immune system weakened so greatly to the point that they are incredibly frail and weak due to lacking white blood cells. Of course, this led me to spend many years of my life after my birth inside of a hospital to stay alive and also half dead. By 2004, which was the year of my birth, it would have been around 60 years of independence for my country. You would imagine that we would have some sort of advanced healthcare system by that time. However, war took a heavy toll on our country, considering how the Americans reduced everything in our capital to rubble. Around that time, I was admitted to the most advanced hospital and also the last line for patients with severe diseases. Memories from that time were very hazy since it was during my infancy. I don't remember much besides the white and sterile walls that's surrounding me. But I do remember that my mom had always been there with me, along with my grandparents. After I reached age 5, I was eligible to leave the hospital. Maybe it was because of the fact that my family had taken care of me so well during my stay, and the tests performed by the hospital said that I was okay to leave. That led to the decision that ultimately allowed me to breathe some fresh air for once. You know, at that time, little me felt like it was the best thing in the world to finally be able to live and see the colors of life. And yes, it was so. So vibrant, so colorful and lively. Seeing the streets of my birthplace in person made them more beautiful than just looking through the windows of that boring old hospital. And for once in this little girl's fleeting life, she felt like she could have done anything. I thought that life would have been back to normal. For many months, yes, it has indeed done so. I went to a normal elementary school. I made many friends, and I think that I was a pretty modest student back then. Actually, I don't remember, but I like to think that I was. At that time, I definitely think that life was very good. Until one day, suddenly, A horrible disease befell me, and before anyone knew it, I was back to square one. It's that same hospital where I'd been kept ever since I was a little girl, but only a different reason why I was taken there again, and a different room to keep me in. This one was much worse than the one that I had when I was a little baby. The disease, I meant. It was a very bad fever. So bad to the point that I was bleeding internally. And the whole thing, paired with my already weak and recovering immune system, turned it into a disaster. Before I knew it, whatever life I had outside of the hospital was taken away from me once again. The little girl was devastated to the core. She missed her friends, and she missed when her head wasn't hurting like it was going to explode. My body felt like it was burning up from the inside, and I seriously thought that I was going to die. But thankfully, first aid proved to be successful, and I was able to open my eyes again after a while. And the first things I saw around me were 4 tubes connected to my arms, 2 on each. I was wearing a gown for patients, the ones that you usually see in the movies. And the room was that same old, boring, all-white room that you expect to see in any hospital, really. Little me felt disheartened at the fact that she hadn't really left the hospital she always dreaded. And I spent approximately another 5 to 6 years inside of the hospital just to recover from the internal bleeding and for the doctors to vaccinate me. Since now my body has an actual chance of taking those without, fucking itself up. The reason why I spent 3 more years, in 3 to 5, the reason why I spent 5 to 6 more years inside of that was because of the extended intervals between the vaccines that I had to take. Normally, for a normal children, it would take around a month or 2 to take another vaccine. But because of my conditions, I take around 4 or 6 months just to take another shot. Well, I'd be lying if I said that books weren't my best friends during those times. Our country had a long history of literature, with reading being one of our most prideful traditions. During those years, my mom taught me how to speak, write, and read Vietnamese. My family even invited a close relative who was a teacher into my room so that I could learn. Since then, I fell in love with languages in a way that I was able to express myself with words. Honestly, when I think about it now, it didn't seem all so bad. But little me felt that crushing weight of loneliness when all she did was spend her days lying in wait for her next vaccine and for her to finally leave the hospital. You can picture this. A little girl whose world was taken away from her because she was just unlucky from the beginning. That would suck a lot, wouldn't it? In those 5 years, she could have been playing with her friends at school, learning all the awesome things that other kids get to learn, and do things that kids are meant to do. But she didn't really have any of that to experience, not when her own body doesn't allow it. However, she genuinely met some of the nicest people that she had known in there. She met an artist, a painter to be exact, who was out doing charity work for children. He painted her a sunflower in such astonishing detail that I still remember how vividly, I still remember vividly how beautiful it looked. Not only that, she also befriended a nurse who was so kind to her that she was like a second mother to her. Every morning when she woke up, next to her bed was always a little glass vase with an assortment of flowers. When those flowers started to wilt, that nurse would always find a new one for her. And lastly, she doesn't remember clearly, but she would always find her big jar of paper hearts being filled up slowly day by day from an unknown sender. And most importantly, her family was always with her. And so she didn't really feel all that lonely. Not when her stay in the hospital was filled with so much love and care. Those 5 to 6 years for her wasn't so bad after all.